1 in 390. Nothing all that daunting as far as drop rates in old school RuneScape go, right? Well, what if you had to complete that grind with no armor, a mediocre weapon, fighting against an enemy that deals 20.1 points of damage on average, while your best healing food decreases your attack stat with each use, increasing your average time to kill, and therefore the damage that you take per kill. Oh, and your inventory looks like this because you don't have access to a bank. This is the situation that I currently find myself in on my Niche locked one chunk account. As per the rules of my series, I must obtain every unique drop from a monster's drop table, provided that I have not previously obtained the drop from another monster, and only if its drop rate is better than 1 in 513 odds, which 1 in 390 is, allegedly. You see, within my unlocked chunks, I have access to these level 57 bandits, who count the same as those in the bandit camp further to the west and who share the same drop table. Their rarest drops are Grimy Dwarfweed and Grimy Lantidine, both at a rate, more specifically, of 1 in 390.1 or 390.13, depending on whom you ask. Now, if you saw the previous episode, you'll know that I had to cut it shorter than I intended, because at 1,171 kills, I am unpleasantly damp for Dwarfweed. I have 4 of them when I should only have 3. In contrast, I'm 3 times dry for the Grimy Lantidine, and the thing is, it has taken me 121 hours to get here. How, you might ask? Well, with no defenses to speak of, save for my meager 60 defense stat, these bandits make me sip wines faster than a 40-year-old suburban housewife with 3 kids. Each wine heals for 11 HP, the most by far of anything in my chunks, but it also decreases my attack stat by 2 points for every wine consumed. It takes a whole minute for each stat drop to be restored, and I don't like to spend my recovery time idle, so I've tried to make the most of it by training on thousands and thousands of jackals, which can also damage me, though not as much as the bandits, but healing off the damage still adds a bit of time before I'm ready to go again. Further compounding the misery is the fact that I don't have a bank, and my inventory has been getting steadily fuller and fuller with random event outfits that I have to keep if I want more XP lamps. I have only had 1 Gravedigger random the entire time, which is the event that would allow me to bank my items, and that was pretty early on. My guy Leo just went out for milk one day and never came back. The consequences of this lack of banking are twofold for me right now. For one, it makes my trips much shorter because I just simply don't have enough healing to last more than a few kills at a time. But it also means that I have not been able to save any of my drops, except for the runes, which are stackable, and the steel axe, which I don't want to risk going dry on if I need it in the future. Every other resource drop has been drop traded to my main account, so they're not going to waste, but I'll never be able to use them on this account, and the longer I go without that Grimy Lantidine, the more resources I'll have to let go of, and the more insane I will become. So that's the long and the short of it. We're dry for a Grimy Lantidine, we're extremely dry for a Leo random, and not having a bank or actual gear just makes this all so much worse. So, will we get this one last remaining drop to finish our chunk and finally roll a new one? Will we gain access to that bank that we so desperately need? I actually don't know, as this is the very first thing that I'm recording for episode 4. But what I can say is that I'm probably not going to upload this unless I finish the chunks, so make of that what you will. But without further preamble, let's roll the intro. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Desert Chunk, my custom one-chunk Iron Man that is still locked to a very small portion of the desert around Niche. In the last episode, I managed to kill over 1,000 bandits, but it took me 2 months, decided that the thousands more jackals I killed to get strong enough to do that were actually a gift from Icthlorin rather than a sin against him, joyously discovered that the steel axe in my chunks could actually be used to cut Caridian cacti, thus giving me the ability to train woodcutting. I got all but one of the drops from the bandits, and then went 3 times dry for the last drop, prompting me to end the video in shame and disgrace and proving why my choice in emo hair was indeed the correct one. I don't really think there's a whole lot more to say. Anyway, the goal for this episode is basically just to get the last drop. You're probably not going to be seeing me much unless I get a really significant combat level, or I actually get the drop, or maybe Leo shows up again. That would be exciting. But yeah, I'm already stocked up and ready to go on the next bandit kill trip. There's really not a whole lot of stocking up that I can do, but I was actually surprised to learn as I was doing the intro. I went and looked up my stats on the DPS calculator, and I'm only taking 20.1 points of damage on average per kill now. Even with just the amount of hit points I have naturally, that's already a 3-kill trip, and with 3 wines, you know, I'm still getting probably 3 to 4 kill trips, so that's not too bad, but obviously it would be nice if we could get more kills per trip, because that would presumably speed things up. Of course, as I say that, I'm having to run away from a failed second kill because these guys were doing way more than 20 damage to me. For this trip, I'm going back to kebabs. I tried these in episode 1, but they quickly fell out of favor for me because of the dialogue that I have to do to get to them. But one of my friends in the community, Don Yagamoth, who is the creator of the Chunk Tyler series, he recommended the kebabs to me. I was going to mention them in my math segment in the previous video, but I felt like it was getting too long. But just as a quick explanation as to why I haven't been using them yet, kebabs heal a variable amount, so there's no set standard amount of healing that they do. I think at level 93 to 99, according to the wiki, they heal about 12 points on average, but my hit points level is way lower than that. The obvious benefit to kebabs, though, is that most of the time they won't drop your stats, and if they do, it's most likely going to be a random stat and not a combat stat, so it could be worth it, but again, we're talking about luck here. I don't have that on my side. Yeah, I don't even know what that kebab just healed me for, so it wasn't a lot. I'll tell you that, it wasn't a lot. Especially when I was expecting the whole 11-point jump from the wines, and it just didn't do that. That was 7 points there, so that's decent, but maybe I'll switch between them, some kebabs, some wines, some kebabs, some wines, I don't know. So I decided to buy kebabs for my post-kill healing, and I just ate a very dodgy one, and they've already recovered, but it actually dropped all of my melee stats by 3 points. Now they're currently only 2 down from where they should be, but yeah, that can happen. It tasted very dodgy, you feel very ill. This is what I mean, where like, if I'm in the fight and that happens to me, I'm just kind of screwed. The whole idea was to reduce my amount of recovery time, but if I'm just, you know, going to have my stats lowered, I really just have no good food options here at the moment. One of the other things that I could have mentioned but didn't were these fruits and this cheese here from this general store, which cost a couple coins each, pretty much. I did cover this in my first episode. They all heal for only 2 points each, but I do use them when, say, my hit points are just a little bit too low, but my attack stat is fully recovered, and I don't want to overheal with the wines and then have to wait for my attack stat to come back. Again, there really just isn't that many great food options for me here in this chunk. The one last little bit of housekeeping that I want to do at the start of this episode here is to talk about the elephant in the room, that being my inventory, because there technically are some non-stackable, non-random event loot items here that I could let go of, those being the steel axe and the 3 uncut diamonds that I got from some random event or other. So I guess in a sense they technically are both stackable since they're noted and also a random event item, but you know what I mean, they're not one of these alpha pieces that gives you the XP lamps when you're done with them, whatever. You guys get what I'm saying. The reason that I'm desperately trying to hold on to these diamonds is just because I don't know when I'm going to get more of them in my chunks, and I don't know when they could be useful, because they just have such a wide application that I'm really hesitant to let go of them. As far as the steel axe goes, yes, I could just get another one in the future from the bandits if I really need it, but as I said in the intro, I don't really want to risk going dry on it. The reason being that this mithril scimitar here isn't actually part of my chunks. I got it from a random event, and this steel axe is part of my chunks, and as I proved in the last episode, I can actually cut Caridian cacti with this axe, and thus I can actually train woodcutting in this chunk. The mithril scimitar allows me to do that as well, but again, it doesn't actually come from my chunks, so I feel like even if I never use the steel axe to cut the cacti, I should at least still have it in my inventory if I'm going to, because I wouldn't be able to otherwise. So I'm going to try to hold on to this for as long as possible. Well, we've got a mime show random here. I just can't believe this. We just got done with a mime random. I had a feeling that this would happen. I didn't want to speak it into existence. If you look here at my random event collection log, the mime mask was the last piece besides the zombie pieces that we were missing, and I guess besides the stale baguette, but that's such a small chance anyway, so I'm not even counting it. Every single outfit piece, every single one finished off right now. Every single outfit finished. I've only had one Leo random. I got both of these from the same random, and he has not shown up again. And I don't know what to do at this point. I'm just going insane right now. I feel like I might as well wear this mask so that at least I can pretend to be happy on the outside. Like, I just want a Leo random, please. Alright, well, I think this pretty much seals the deal on my decision to not use kebabs, because I just got a message here that eating the kebab has damaged my prayer stat, which, as I've said multiple times before in the previous episodes, this is not a renewable resource for us right now. Unless I die, which I'm trying my best not to do, this cannot be recharged. I have no way to restore this in my currently unlocked chunks, so this, bit of 3 prayer that was drained here, that's gone for good until I die or unlock more chunks that give me a prayer restore option. And it hasn't been useful yet, but in just 655 experience, we'll be at level 43, which unlocks the protect from melee prayer, which is actually potentially useful to us. So I'd like to try to conserve my prayer if possible, and the fact that the kebabs have a chance to do that to it, no good in my books. So I think I'd rather wait for a recoverable stat to come back over time rather than, you know, just lose a chunk of a stat that can't actually be recovered. Here's the first level for this video, that's 66 strength. Well, it's not the random we were hoping for, but at least it gets us a level. There's level 21 fishing. So, I was planning to call it a night after that last clip, but then I clicked onto Telecon's most recent one-chunk video, the one where he starts at the Karamja volcano, and watching other one-chunkers actually being able to progress their accounts always gives me some extra motivation to do this grind. But I bring Telecon up specifically because his start was oddly similar to mine, where he only had these very low-level NPCs to kill. His best source of healing was alcoholic beverages. He even had a beer glass spawn in one of those special barrels with the taps that actually lets you get beer from them. I guess there are only a small number of locations in the game that actually have those, so it was almost like getting a bit of deja vu watching that episode. There's 16 woodcutting. Oh, I have to dismiss this one. I would rather just not have it at all in the first place than take it and have to drop it. That's why I haven't dropped these. I just, can't do it, Miss Princess. Sorry, you're just gonna have to, stay a frog for a little bit longer. Well, Leo eludes us once again, but we have this book, and with it, there's level 8 agility. And a total level of 350. Well, friends, I really didn't think that this was going to happen this early on, chunk-wise, into the account, but here is level 43 prayer. We have unlocked the protect from melee prayer. I'll give prayer flicking a try. Like I mentioned in the last episode, I've never done it, so hopefully no, I just missed that one. Here? Yeah, and he doesn't attack at a consistent... Oh, I'm totally messing this up. Well, I mean, I don't know if that helped or not. Maybe it did, but that was my attempt at prayer flicking, so I guess I'll get better at that as time goes on, but if not, well, I mean, I lost 2 prayer points there, so I wasn't even all that efficient. So the prayer flicking is definitely working when I can time it right, but sometimes I just get out of the rhythm, or maybe he does, and I'm also still losing prayer points, so it's not a perfect method. It's also not something I can get back once it runs out, so I don't know how long this is going to be useful for, but at least for this trip, it's gotten me about 4 or 5 kills so far, and I'm still full health. I accidentally drank one of my wines trying to hit the prayer, so that's why I'm only at 4 or 5 kills at the moment. See, look, I don't even need the prayer. That's pretty cool. So that was a good bunch of kills, about 7 or 8 of them, but I think that this is something that I'm going to use only very sparingly, like if I'm trying to finish a kill on low HP and I just have no wines left, I'll flick on the prayers a little bit. But like I keep saying, I just don't have a fair way to be able to use these prayers consistently. There's 17 woodcutting. Here's level 18 woodcutting. And it looks like we also just, at that moment, have an Evil Bob random event. Not the one that we're looking for, but I guess it's more fishing XP. I'll take it. Well, there's level 22 fishing. Alright, so I've made up my mind about a couple things regarding the progression of this account. The long and the short of it is that this combination of my current stats and my severe lack of inventory space is just making the trips way too short and the grind way too frustrating. Up to this point, I've been more or less accepting of these 2 to 3 kill trips because theoretically I could just get the last drop in the next 2 to 3 kills. But the reality is that RNG is RNG, and no amount of bemoaning the fact that I'm over 3 times dry for a grimy lantidime is going to magically change that in the next few kills. It could happen. It could take me only 10 more kills, or it could take me 1,000 more kills, or more. And if it's the latter case, I either need to be much stronger or I need to have much more inventory space for me to feel like this grind is sustainable. And yes, I do mean feel. The math can say whatever it wants about average time to kill and average damage taken, but at the end of the day, if it feels like I'm banging my head against a brick wall, something needs to change. And so, in order to try to bring about that change, I decided that I am going back to training on the jackals and possibly the level 41 bandits until one of two things happens. One, I reach level 65 attack and defense, or two, I actually finally manage to spawn a Leo random event. But perhaps more importantly, I'm going to be doing this training on my other machine, and this will allow me to play either sitting up or lying down, which will give me a chance to refresh my body, take some of the pressure off the recording side of things, and hopefully enable me to get longer playing sessions in because of it. I'll try my best to get screenshots of all my level ups for a nice montage, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, you'll hear more from me again in just a few seconds, but it'll be quite a while for me, so I'd better get to grinding. And here is, finally, level 65 attack, which took a lot longer than I was hoping in terms of IRL time, but I'll get into that in just a moment. It took 2,900 jackals on my side machine to get here, in addition to the 6,800 recorded on this machine, so that's a total of 9,700 jackals killed so far in these chunks. I did try my hand at the level 41 bandits a number of times, about 20 I think. The loot that you see in the tracker is from a while back when I killed several of the level 57 bandits before realizing that my rune light wasn't synced. I'll throw on the screenshot I used back in episode 3 for reference. But even the level 41s just dealt too much damage to make them a viable training method. I was only able to get a few kills at a time with no wines and only a few more if I had them. And of course, the more wines I drink, the longer I have to wait for my stats to recover. It's the same problem with the level 57 bandits, but the level 41s only have 30 hit points, so I'm struggling to get 120 melee stat XP per kill, whereas I could just struggle to get 200 XP per kill from the level 57s. The jackals have 27 HP, which gives me 108 XP per kill, so not that much less than the level 41s, plus I can take on a dozen or so of them in a single water skin trip, and I typically only need 1 or 2 wines to heal off the damage. By the time I fill up my water skin, I'm practically already good to go for another round. In terms of the in-game time, we are currently sitting at 223 hours on the account, and I left off the last clip at 169 hours, so it took me 54 hours to get here. That's 54 hours without a single Leo random event, and I waited right up until after an event spawned to log out during most of my sessions to try not to waste the spawn timer, and it's just so frustrating. You can see all the random events that we did get on the screen right now, and you'll probably notice some gaps where I just wasn't playing for various IRL reasons, which again, I'll get into in just a minute. And there was even a period where a Windows update bricked my side machine where I've been doing most of this off-camera grinding, so I had to play on my main machine until I could get that fixed. Luckily I didn't lose anything, but sure enough, there's no sign of Leo. Now, something else you might have noticed is that I ditched my steel axe, which, according to the self-imposed restriction I laid out at the beginning of this video, means I can no longer cut cacti for water or XP. But I decided I'm okay with this because I'm not going to be lasting more than a few kills at the bandits anyway, and I'll be honest, the marginal woodcutting gains I was getting really started to lose their charm on me. And speaking of ditching items, I finally let go of those diamonds after so much time of trying to keep them around, around. As you can probably tell by my decision not to use my mithril scimitar to cut cacti, I'm starting to lean more in the direction of considering random event items to be bonus content that I don't want to materially affect my chunk progression, unless I can already get those items within my chunk, and that will go for clue scrolls in the future as well. This reasoning may also influence which skills I decide to put XP lamps on, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Basically, I was never going to count those diamonds as unlocking or necessitating further chunk tasks, and so it didn't really make sense for me to hold on to them anymore, so I just dropped them over to my main. Now, I'm okay with using weapon and armor upgrades that are outside of my chunks to kill the monsters therein, but I'm not counting them as overriding any best-in-slot tasks. If my next chunk gives me access to a steel scimitar, for example, I would still have to get it even though I have the myth sim, because the steel one would technically be the best melee slash weapon available in my current chunks. So hopefully that little rule clarification makes sense, and now let's gear up to go take on these level 57 bandits again. And by gear up, I mean buy 4 jugs of wine, because I have a whopping 2 extra slots to work with now. So yeah, we're just going to get back into it, and I'll kind of just talk about where I've been while we get these first few kills. Honestly, it's nothing really beyond the norm, just family and work obligations, some pretty big life events for those around me. I am kind of in a constant struggle with my mental health and motivation, which is probably a lot of what kept me away, some minor physical health issues as well, being sick, feeling lethargic, stuff like that. Basically, I'm just making excuses for why I'm a bad YouTuber who dropped off the face of the earth with no warning. I could say that I was just taking care of myself or taking time for myself, but at the end of the day, I don't think that's necessarily the case. I don't expect many viewers to still be around at this point, and I'm really sorry to those who might have expected more from me. And by that same token, I am extremely grateful to anyone who is watching and supporting this series. I'm kind of just doing it for myself and documenting it for anyone else who happens to be interested in it at this point. So I guess we'll just have to see where it takes us, but thank you guys for being patient, and let's get this drop. Oh, you guys! Oh my gods, you guys! Look who it is! Oh my gods! Leo, let me not mess this up. He finally showed up. Oh my gods, I am so excited. I'm so excited. I was literally just about to drop off this herb drop that I got, which is just a Harlander, by the way, but I was just about to drop it off to my main. Dude, oh my gods. Oh, I'm so giddy right now. I've been waiting for this. I have been waiting for this for so long. Okay. All right, let's do this. Let's not mess this up. Let's do this the right way. Okay. Oh my gods. Okay. All right. How do I do this? This looks different from how I kind of remember it. Well, definitely we're going to deposit all of these frog tokens, right? That's the first thing. And then pretty much every single random event piece that's in my inventory right now going to go straight in here. The grimy Harlander can go in as well, of course. All of the stackable stuff and obviously the water skin we want to keep. Now, here's the thing, the sad thing that is going to have to occur here is that all of this random event stuff, even though I love my fashion scape here with my mime mask and mime top and the beekeeper's legs, mime boots, beekeeper's gloves, all that stuff, it's gonna have to go, more than likely, because if we do happen to get duplicates, then that's going to fill up just an extra inventory spot instead of being able to get equipped like all of that stuff was. None of that stuff gives stats anyway, so it's not like the biggest loss in terms of anything other than the fashion, so we'll get rid of that all. The gold necklace can stay, I guess, just a little bit of extra fashion scape, even though it does give me some extra weight. The iron arrows, actually, I'm going to remove all of these and deposit them all as well, because in case we get some steel arrows that we might want to hold on to, something like that. I'll just free up, you know, as much as I can, really. And this'll be it. Back to our emo roots with a little bit of bling, and let's finish this event up real quick. And there is the event done. We did not mess up this time, so hopefully Leo will come back to us a bit more frequently now. We'll just put on our new zombie stuff, which 12-year-old me would have thought was awesome, but almost 2 decades older me just feels like it's kind of meh now. But yeah, oh my god, I can actually have space, I can breathe in my inventory now. I could have more water skins, more wines, I can do so much. Funnily enough, I was actually kind of feeling like I might get it. I had just caught up with Blue's One Chunk Man series, The Tower of Blue, and he was begging for Leo for a long time, and he finally got, well, he got a couple Leo random events before that, I think, so he was in a better position than I was, and he still got his, so I was kind of feeling, I was kind of hoping that it would happen to me too, and it did. So this is just great. I mean, I have all these wines to work with now. This is going to be so good. Realistically, I don't know how much this is going to change because I still need to, you know, actually get the drops, and having all these wines is going to make my attack stat go down, and the recovery times might be a little bit higher. I might have to go back and kill some more jackals and all that stuff, some recovery jackals. But yeah, just having this inventory space and being able to extend my trips and not have to worry about the desert heat because I can have more water skins, and just everything about this is so much better than it was. I'm so happy, guys. You have no idea how happy I am right now, or maybe you do. I've only been going on about it for the last like 5 minutes. So there you go. There's my Leo random that I've finally been asking for. Who knows? Maybe now we can get the Grimy Lantidime, right, Jagex? Right? And here is level 67 strength. Fun fact, it would take roughly 600 bandits of strength XP to get to my next max hit, which is about 1.5 times the drop rate for the Grimy Lantidime, and I'm already more than 3 times dry for it, so I'm kind of hoping that we don't gain a max hit from this grind. I would kind of like to roll a new chunk sooner rather than later. Now, to be fair, it would be a little bit less than 600 due to the jackals, but the point still stands. Oh, there it is on the ground. Do you see it, my friends? Do you see it? Standing under this bandit here that I've allowed to respawn in the time it took for me to get my recorder up. That's the Grimy Lantidime that we need. Hopefully the last drop. I haven't actually checked my chunk map in quite a while. I'm sure we'll see when we open that up. Okay, this really was our lucky night, I guess. We got a Leo, and then just a couple hours later, we have the Grimy Lantidime. Let's open up the kill count. That is, 1,452. I'll do some math on that later after I calm down and sort myself out from this, because I haven't actually done any of that ahead of time. I wasn't expecting to get it, and it's like 4 a.m. I was about to go to bed, and I was going to do like one last trip, and oh, there's an Evil Bob random. Okay, let's do that too. Get some fishing XP, sure. Yeah, let's just do all the things, right? Okay, it's not a fishing random, so we're not going to get any XP from this, but we'll see what we do get. An XP lamp, okay, I'll take that. Okay, so it's actually the next day from when I finished the chunk. I was going to stay up to do the chunk roll, but that just wasn't viable. I needed to compile some data and make some graphics to wrap up this chunk properly, but that was going to take too much time, and I had to get some sleep before work. So let's get right back into it now. We are currently sitting at 9 days and 12 hours on the account, or 228 hours, which is just 5 hours from when we finished the Jackal grind. The Jackal grind itself took 54 hours, which seems like a lot compared to what it took to finish the chunk afterwards, but we actually spent 190 total hours on this grind. We killed our first level 57 bandits at around 38 hours of time played. By no means was it the longest one chunk grind ever, but it was still pretty long for what it was. And the Jackal grind was definitely worth it in my opinion. The bandit kills were so much easier. I could usually get 4 to 5 kills per trip, even with the limited inventory space, and I think I got over a dozen on my first trip after Leo showed up, so it definitely sped up the progress. 82 kills in 5 hours, which is about 16 kills per hour. We're sitting at just over 2 million XP, total level 379, and almost 81 combat. We finished off the chunk at 1,452 bandit kills, but 30 of those came from the level 41 and level 56 Paul Niche bandits before we even started this grind, so that brings our total of level 57 bandits killed to 1,422. Moving on to our custom graphic that you might remember from the previous episode, you can see a comparison between the number of drops we got versus the number of expected drops based on the given drop rates of each item. To figure out these ratios, all I did was divide the total number of bandit kills by an item's drop rate, then I floored the decimal, and that is how I got all of the numbers on the right. This is the number of expected drops of each item. The numbers on the left are, of course, the actual number of drops we received, as recorded by the main loot tracker. There are a couple of kills on my side machine that are not accounted for here, so that's why you may notice a slight discrepancy between what's in my inventory and what is shown on my loot tracker and this graphic. Some notable items are the Chaos Runes, which we got quite a lot of, and these will be nice for when we eventually unlock magic. However, we ended up going rather dry for the Law Runes, especially as compared to the other runes sharing the same drop rate. We did pretty darn well with the steel bars. It's Just a shame that we weren't able to keep any of them. By contrast, we're a little bit dry for these steel axes, so hopefully I'm not going to be needing them anytime soon, as I sold off the one that I was keeping before being able to bank it. We also did very well with the guam leaves, and actually went on drop rate or better for the majority of the herbs, including the coveted renars. Unfortunately, we only have a small handful of herbs to show for it, and there's a chance that we don't even get to keep those depending on which chunks we roll next. And speaking of rolling chunks, let us finally move on to the chunk picker. It has been a while since I've seen this. 231 days since the last roll. That's not great. Here is the list of all of our tasks. You can see that every one of them is marked off currently, except for that grimy lantidime right there, that pesky grimy lantidime. It doesn't look like it's giving me the option to recalculate my tasks, so I think and hope that means that nothing new has popped up in the time since we last rolled this or did anything with it. So let's just mark this off like so. 29 out of 29, very nice. Boy, am I glad that we didn't start over here in the bandit camp, because that was one of the options I mentioned thinking about in episode 1. Not only would it have probably been impossible for me to actually start the challenge here, but getting the drops starting with just the bandits to kill, and I don't know, maybe there's some desert rams walking around or something, I have no idea, but it would have been very horrible. It would have been just a not great experience, so good on past me for actually starting in Polnivnich. But enough talking, let's roll. I think I just hit this pick chunk. It's been so long since I've done this. I think that this is all that I do, and we're just going to talk about what we want here real quick. We want a bank first and foremost, and we want an altar. That doesn't look like either of them. The Gjaldraugt pyramid. That's what I'm going with. Take me there. So that's just the desert treasure pyramid here. No current chunk tasks, so that's pretty cool. It is not a bank, but it gets us closer to a bank. We're still 1 square away from Narda. We're also now 2 squares away from unlocking Temperos, or I guess not Temperos itself, but the place where you start Temperos from. So yeah, let's just head back in game and go there and see what's up. So this is our newest chunk. We're at the border. You have seen it from a distance before, and probably every time in my intro that I pass over it. But now we're finally here, and we get to unlock it, so I think... Do I just... Nope, I do not left click it, I right click it? Nope. Do I shift click it? Okay, good. I shift click it. It is now unlocked. I have to relearn this thing after so long of not doing it. I'm probably gonna have to relearn all of my video editing tricks and whatnot. So it's probably gonna take me quite a while to actually get this video out to you guys once I decide to actually end it. But with that chunk unlocked, let us now step across the border. Any new music tracks unlocked? I don't know. Let's see. Maybe if we get up to the pyramid. It says that there are no chunk tasks, so I think that there's probably nothing in this chunk except for this pyramid entrance, which we cannot open. I am very glad to have unlocked this chunk early on, though, because it's a giant pyramid. We're in the desert chunk. This is like the whole basis of my chunk iconography, thematic, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, love me some pyramids, love me some ancient desert vibes here. I will just take a look up here a little bit to see what is around, to see if there's any new mobs that we have access to. I don't think so. We have a couple more jackals that we can fight if we need to. I don't think we will need to. We've got some crocodiles along the river here. Probably not going to be picking a fight with those, just, you know, being honest. Nothing really to the south here, but we can go along the back of the pyramid. Here are some more jackals that can kind of wander in, it looks like. Again, probably not going to have any need to fight those. And then the western extremity here is just pretty much empty desert. Got some rocks. Got a rock slide. A deposit of rocks, okay. Just over yonder, it looks like there is a quest starting area. I don't think we have the requirements to start it, but if we roll that chunk, maybe it's in our future, who knows? So with our perfect little square being broken here, we now have to add some more rollable chunks to this map. Let me see if I can remember how to do that. Do I right-click it? Nope. Do I left-click it? Yes. And then I left-click this one. I believe I can get into both of these chunks here. So these are all of our rollable chunks, and with no active tasks to speak of, let's pick the chunk again and see what we get this time. River Elid. That is not Narda, but we'll get taken there anyway. So it looks like we do have some tasks here to kill a billy goat and to get a desert goat horn from the billy goat, as you can see in our drops up here at the top. We also have to kill 1 goat just regular goat, I guess. And here is our new chunk. Well, I say new, but we've technically already passed through it to get to this chunk in the first place, so technically not new, but it does have some new things for our challenge here. So let's open up the world map, shift click again, and there we go. Chunk unlocked. We can now go into it, and let's just knock out these tasks real quick. Here is a goat. I guess it doesn't really matter which one we kill. We do have to find a billy goat, which I believe has a 100% chance to drop its horn, if I saw correctly. Oh, that's just a desert goat horn right there. So I guess all of the desert goats can drop the desert goat horn. So that is 2 tasks checked off right there. Mark them, everyone. Now let's go find that billy goat. Alright, so I found the billy goat just up here. It looks like it is 10 levels higher than the other goats, and we're just going to take a few swings at it and get these tasks all checked off and knocked off the list, and we will be able to roll again, which is kind of what I figured would happen after ending the previous chunk. I figured we would just kind of run into a bunch of empty chunks or, you know, a few tasks just like this. He's actually doing some damage to me, which is kind of funny, but I mean, I guess not surprising. We don't have any armor, and our defense is only, what, level 65, which isn't terrible, but, you know, nothing to write home about. But we are going to go back to our home here, original home in Polnivnich, and wait out the next chunk roll. Let me bury these bones to assert my dominance over the goats, and I guess I'll drink this to get my health back and a little bit of extra inventory space, because, you know, we need it. No idea what these horns are used for or useful for, so we're just going to hold on to them for now, you know. Could be useful in the future, you never know. That's kind of the whole idea of a one-chunk Iron Man. Anything could be useful, but we don't have a bank, so let's see if we can get one. Alright, and I am just going to mark off these tasks here. Now let us consider our next rollable chunks. We can technically get up into this chunk here if we go all the way around, across this bridge and up this tiny little narrow pathway, because we can already enter it from here. So this is getting marked, and we can obviously get into the top of this chunk here, which brings us very close to the Calphite Cave, which I'm kind of nervous about, so hopefully we don't roll upwards, at least not until we have something, you know, useful to fight Calphites with. So without further ado, let's roll the chunk again. Will we finally get Narda? Will we finally get a bank? Let's see. There's Narda, there's a bank. It's probably going to come with a whole bunch of tasks as well, so it's kind of a double-edged sword, but let's just get taken there and see what we have. Oh boy! There is a ton of tasks here. There are a ton of tasks here, I should say. We need 40 defense to wear rune armor, which we can get from the shop, which we will have to buy out all of this stuff from the shop, probably, and it looks like there are a couple shops here. Ooh, we have Hunter unlocked now. That's cool. We have a Hunter shop, and we're not too far away from some Hunter areas here, so that could be a cool skill that we are able to train soon. Let me see. We have a quest, Spirits of the Elid, up to step 1. That'll be cool. We have a Desert Diary easy task, and I basically just need one of any herb, and we have several herbs, so that's pretty cool. That actually synergizes really well with the desert bandits that we have. We've got some chalk ice and chocolate bars to buy. I don't know if those heal anything close to wines. And then here is the big thing, the Sedu's Adventurers store stock, all of which will help, but it'll cost a lot of money, and we don't have a great way of making money right now, so that's going to be a thing. That's going to be an adventure, trying to figure out how we're going to do all of that, but let's get into it, because we really need these upgrades, or we're kind of screwed here. Well, I guess we gotta play some pinball before we actually get to the chunk, so here goes nothing. And there we go, 10 pillars tagged in a row, no mistakes, still the best pinball player in OSRS history. Don't even try to come at me and unseat my throne. We're just too good at this game, guys. 5 rubies, and we can actually keep these because we finally have a freaking bank. Alright, friends, we are just 1 tile away from the chunk we have wanted since we started rolling. Let's open the map, let's not delay it any longer. Let us unlock Narda. What a beautiful sight to behold. It's going to come with a lot of grinds, but these ones I'm actually kind of looking forward to, so we'll see how it is. Step across the border, okay. No music tracks unlocked yet, maybe once we get into the town. Over to Narda, new music track unlocked. What a beautiful, beautiful sight. I can't actually hear it right now because I'm not listening to the audio. I don't have my headphones in, so don't know what it sounds like. I probably do, but I've forgotten about it because I'm sure I've heard it before. But anyway, this is Narda. Beautiful, lovely town. I like the way it looks a lot. Even more beautiful, though, is this bank, and I actually have to go and look up my bank pin. It's a good thing that past me decided to write it down along with, you know, my other things that I need to know for this account. And here is the bank. Here is our beautiful collection of outfit slots and collection logs and all of that. We've got some bronze arrows, we've got some iron arrows, some other stuff that we were able to save either from the maze random, teleporting it here automatically, or just being able to use Leo the first time. We've only had him twice, so, you know, there's not that much in here, but there's enough, right? There's enough. We can get our Harlanders in here, our Grimy Lantidime. 5 rubies going in as well. To be honest, I'm probably just going to sell these off for money because we need to make a lot of it in this chunk. We can put all of our runes in, so that's pretty cool. Actually, we can just kind of deposit the whole inventory and see how that looks, except for the lamp, of course. We can move these up to the top spot as I like them to be. I think, you know what, I might as well open my worn item slot, remove these, put them in there. Oh. It's been a while since I've used a bank, guys. Put these in there as well, and I should probably sort this out at some point, but really I just want to look around the chunk and see what else there is to offer here. We have a cooking oven, though I'm not sure we can actually cook anything here because I imagine I would have gotten a task to do so if that were the case. Anything in this house? Not really. Anything in this house? Nope. Judging by the icon on the mini-map, it looks like this is the guy that will sell me hunter stuff, so let's trade him just to see what he has. We're gonna have to buy all of these things. So how much? 72k? Oh boy. Maybe I made a mistake by having this as part of my chunk tasks. But I guess it's too late to turn back now, right? We'll figure out a way to do that at some point. Here's this house. There's a ladder. Nothing. Here's the herb guy. It doesn't look like he has a shop, so we're not going to bother with anything right now. Nothing. We've got some new palaces to hang out in to get some of our confessionals going. Some nice new scenery. This is, I think, where you start the quest that is here, but I'm not going to do that just yet. There is a Radat. Level 21 I can attack, and Tariq, level 21 I can attack. There's also Poltanip, level 21. I don't know if I want to attack those guys, or if I even can. And then there's this guy, who's probably important for a quest if I had to guess. I see a red item. Actually, I see 2 red item spawns. I missed this one when I, it's just shoes. Well, I guess I don't have shoes, so I'll wear the shoes. Is that Fashionscape? Not really, but I have them now. No stats. But whatever. Ancestral key, I doubt I'm even going to be able to pick this up. Is this an altar? What is this building? Local shrine to She. Okay. Well, there is no shrine to pray at, so unfortunately, can't restore our prayer here, it looks like. Maybe once we complete the quest, it'll be a place to do that, but for right now, not so much. Another ladder, another bit of nothing. Oh, there is a Habiba up here. We have a rug merchant, so we can travel between here and Polnivnich now, although that costs money, so I don't think I'm going to be using it much because I want to try to save money. Sedu, this is the guy that trades me all the good stuff, and this is his anvil. I guess we can smith stuff here if we had anything to smith. Cough, cough, steel bars, although I don't think I even could get the smithing level to do that, or a hammer, so probably a moot point, but let's see what Sedu has. The black med helm. We could buy that. We could also buy the steel kite shield. Pretty sure we have enough money for the green d'hide chaps and the vambraces. What about the rune chain? 46k, that's going to be a little ways off. 60k for the plate legs and also for the plate skirt. So probably going to just stick with these things for now as armor upgrades, but hey, those are still upgrades. General store, let's see what you have. Just standard stuff. There is a hammer here, so eventually you might be able to smith stuff. Ooh, cooked meat. Probably doesn't heal that much, and it costs 5 coins, so it will likely not be our food of choice, but yeah. And then this is the person who sells the chalk ice, I believe, and the chocolate bar for 30 coins and 10 coins. Not interested in those at the moment. Alright, well, that is the chunk. I think the first thing that I really want to do is just get those upgrades and see how they look, see how they feel. Should I go and attack something with them? Let's see. Grab our money, go back to Sedu, trade Sedu, and I think we want probably just all of these. I mean, we're gonna have to buy them all anyway, and these are the only things we can afford, so let's buy one of each, and if we need to sell something back at some point, I guess we can do that as well. Green d'hide chaps. I need a range level of 40. Black Med Helm, I know I don't need a ranged level for that. Totally forgot about the ranged level for these things, but like I said, we need to buy them anyway. So these are all tasks that are crossed off now. I'll keep these in the bank for now, but if we need to sell them back to try to get money for other things, I'll probably just end up doing that because I don't have a way to train ranged right now. But we can equip the shield, and we're looking like this. Also, I was just kidding, we do have to kill these guys, so let's just go and do that right now. Get them out of the way. Oh yeah, look at that. We're not even, okay, we just took damage. Yep, okay, we just took it again. Right as I was about to say that we weren't taking any, so. Cool, very cool. Let's see about you. Who did we even just kill? Right now we're killing Poltanip. The only one alive is Radat, so I think we killed Tariq first to start with. I'm pretty sure those were just the only 3 guys we had to kill, so let's cross those off, pick up this guy's bones, bury them all to show dominance and for a little bit of prayer XP, of course, and let us start this quest by talking to Awusa the mayor. Any idea how you got this curse? Well, we think it was because we were negligent in our duty to protect a priest of Saradomin. Well, why would you need to protect a priest of Saradomin? Saradomin sucks. Sorry to anyone who likes Saradomin. He came to us a few weeks ago from the north and we welcomed him into our town. Okay, cool. Teaching about Saradomin, not so cool. A week ago we found him dead by the river. Good, serves him right. We like Icthlorin in this desert. Get Saradomin out of here. It seems unlikely that it is coincidence we were then cursed. See, these Saradominists, they always just bring problems. This is why you can't trust them. You can't have them around. If you look around the town, you might be able to find out more. Okay, starting this quest, be aware that one or more of your skill levels are lower than what is required to fully complete it. Well, we have to start it anyway, so let's do that. How many steps does it say we have to go up to? Up to step 1, which I think is just the start of this quest, so I don't think we can actually do anything else here. I just checked the wiki and it says that I can get a ballad from this guy here, but it also tells me not to bank or drop the ballad as it is needed to complete the quest, so I don't know if I'm going to mess anything up. I'm assuming I can't like soft lock myself. They probably would have thought of that. So I guess I'll talk to him and just take the ballad and then bank it, even though it told me not to. The Ballad of Jarish tells of a previous quest to try and find the spirits. I'll probably read it myself off camera, but for right now it is going into the bank, even though I was told not to do that. I'm sure I could just take it out again once I actually have need of it, but that is the only step of the quest we can do, so I'm going to count that as a chunk task complete. And then the last thing that I want to do is bring the herb cleaner an herb, and I don't know if it takes money for him to clean it, so I'm just going to bring some to be safe, and we can get this diary task knocked out. Hello Zahur, please clean my herb. 200 coins to clean this herb. Sure, we'll do it. We'll take a clean Haralander, and we have completed an easy task in the desert area. Our achievement diary has been updated. And now here is where I leave you. So soon after coming back, it feels. I spent months starting the grind, getting discouraged, doing a lot of training, getting even more discouraged, and taking a lot of time off because of it. And then it only took me about 4 days and 6 in-game hours to finish everything off, and that's just the nature of RNG grinds, I guess. I'm sure most of my early viewers probably think that I just gave up, which I almost kind of did, to be fair. But I meant it when I said that I'm going to try my best to stick it out, and I definitely haven't given it my best shot yet. So even if there's just one person left out there watching, genuinely, thank you. It means so much to me. Ever since I found gaming content on YouTube 18 years ago, I've had this hope that I could share my perspective and my experiences in a similar way. So thank you again. You're still making it happen, even if you're the only one. But for the time being, I'm going to assume that there are at least a couple of you out there, and I'll let you guys know what to expect going forward. Firstly, I'm in the process of rebranding a little bit. I'm trying to come up with a more consistent thumbnail aesthetic, reworking some old titles, and maybe changing my wording from custom one chunk to semi-extreme one chunk in order to be more in line with other creators in the community. And as far as my new chunk goes, yes, it is daunting, but don't worry, I already have some ideas brewing for how to make some money, so we'll see where that takes us. But I am going to be signing off for now. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you've stuck around all this time. I'll see you in the next video, and take care, everyone.